September 10th, 2025, one sound. That's all it took to shatter a campus and rewrite a nation's belief in truth. A gunshot, sharp, distant, echoing across Utah Valley University. Students ducked, cameras rolled, and by nightfall, America had its villain. Tyler Robinson, 22, computer science major, accused of shooting conservative figure Charlie Kirk during a live event. The footage looked undeniable. A dark figure on a rooftop, a glint of steel, a flash. But 9 days later, new footage surfaced. Just one shaky frame, but enough to expose an impossible truth. The supposed shooter never pulled the trigger. Someone else did, and disappeared before anyone noticed. So if Tyler didn't shoot, who did? And why did someone want the world to believe he did? This isn't just about one bullet. It's about manipulation, power, and how truth dies the moment it starts trending. The footage hit the internet like a lightning bolt. A new angle of the Charlie Kirk shooting, uploaded to an obscure forum, time-stamped, grainy, but crystal clear where it mattered. People had seen the clip before, the one broadcast on every major news channel, the one that showed the shooter raise his arm, the crowd scatter, the gun flash. But this new footage told a different story. It started the same way. A crowd gathered outside the event hall, cameras flashing, voices rising. Charlie was stepping off stage, waving, smiling, unaware of what was about to unfold. Then, just as the shot rang out, the so-called shooter froze. And in that split second, everything people thought they knew collapsed. Frame by frame, the internet picked it apart. The gun didn't recoil. The muzzle flash didn't light the shooter's face. There was no shell casing, no smoke. Instead, the shooter's expression wasn't rage or focus. It was confusion, shock, like someone realizing they'd been caught in something they didn't even do. Within minutes, social media detonated. Wait, he didn't shoot? Pause at point 17, look at his hand. There's no gun. There's literally no gun. Thousands of reposts, millions of views. The hashtag #JarNewFootage hit global trends within an hour. Every platform was flooded with side-by-side comparisons. The original video versus the leak. The difference was undeniable. In one version, the shooter looked guilty. In this one, he looked framed. People started demanding answers. Why was this angle hidden? Who filmed it? And more importantly, why did the official footage show something different? But what really made the internet lose its mind was the detail at the edge of the frame. Behind the shooter, in the reflection of a glass door, there was another figure. Someone standing just out of sight, hand raised, something metallic flashing in the light. The mainstream media tried to downplay it. They called it a compression artifact, a camera glitch. But tech analysts weren't convinced. The reflection was too clean, too clear. The shooter wasn't alone. Comment sections turned into war zones. Half the internet screamed cover-up. The other half called it fake news. But no one could ignore the evidence piling up. Within hours, people began comparing timestamps from every available clip. One anomaly stood out. The official footage's metadata didn't match the event's timeline. The shot was recorded 6 minutes earlier than it was broadcast. 6 minutes. That meant the clip wasn't live. It was edited. The discovery sent shockwaves through every corner of the web. Entire threads vanished overnight. Re-uploads of the new footage were flagged and removed. Even journalists who tried to verify it had their accounts suspended mid-investigation. It felt coordinated. Then came the silence. Major outlets stopped covering the story entirely. Politicians called it disinformation. But by that point, the truth had already escaped. The internet had seen too much to go back. The new footage didn't just change the narrative, it destroyed it. People began asking questions no one wanted to answer. If the shooter didn't fire, who did? If the evidence was real, who wanted it buried? And if someone could alter footage this cleanly, how many other truths were already manufactured? By the next morning, the story had taken on a life of its own. Millions of people were watching the same 10-second clip on loop, pausing, zooming, enhancing, trying to spot what everyone else missed. But one detail stood out above all else: the sound. The gunshot echo didn't match the shooter's direction. It came from behind the camera. And just like that, the world realized. The footage that exposed the shooter also proved he didn't shoot. By sunrise, the clip had spread beyond control. Reddit, X, Telegram, every corner of the internet was buzzing. Analysts, amateur sleuths, even ex-military video specialists weighed in. Everyone had an opinion, and everyone was certain they were right. But one question burned hotter than all the rest. Where did the footage come from? The original file wasn't just some shaky cell phone video. Its quality, its angle, it was shot from a vantage point only accessible to event security. Meaning whoever recorded it had credentials or clearance. Then came the real kicker. The video's embedded data pointed to a source inside the venue's internal network. Not public Wi-Fi, not a media stream. The private surveillance grid. That shouldn't have been possible. The building's feed was encrypted end-to-end, stored locally, with no external connection. To access it, someone had to breach the system or work from the inside. Either way, it meant one thing: this wasn't an accident. Online communities began forming around the leak. Groups devoted entirely to finding the original uploader. But each time someone got close, their account vanished. Profiles deleted. Threads wiped. Still, bits of evidence trickled out. Someone on a small cybersecurity forum claimed to have downloaded the original file minutes after it went live. When users pressed for proof, their post disappeared, replaced by a notice that read, "User banned for violating national security protocol." That phrase alone ignited the conspiracy wildfire. If the footage was fake, why call it national security? And if it was real, who was trying so hard to erase it? A few hours later, a second clip surfaced. Not as detailed, but unmistakably from the same camera system. This time, the shooter's perspective was half blocked by a pillar. But in that partial reflection again, that same faint glint of metal behind the crowd. People started syncing both clips side by side. The angle difference was minimal, but when overlaid, something shocking became clear. The flash of light from the supposed gun and the sound of the shot didn't line up. There was a 2-frame delay, about 0.08 seconds. In technical terms, impossible, unless the sound was added after. That's when a new theory hit. The event feed had been tampered with. Not during the shooting, but afterward, before broadcast. The audio, the frame cuts, even the gun flash, all inserted digitally. Within minutes, editors and VFX artists across social media started running their own experiments. They recreated the official footage using basic visual effects software, and the resemblance was nearly identical. The conclusion was chilling. With the right tools, someone could fake a shooting and make millions believe it happened in real time. But that still didn't answer the question. Why? Some said it was political. Others claimed it was a distraction, but a smaller group, the ones tracing the leak's metadata, saw something deeper. The file's upload origin wasn't random. It pinged from a masked IP located in Zurich, a city known for two things: finance and encrypted data hosting. Whoever leaked this video wasn't an amateur hacker. They were someone with infrastructure, intent, and a message. The internet dubbed them the Mirror. Not an official name, just a nickname born out of the reflection theory. The idea that the mirror had revealed what the real camera couldn't. From there, everything escalated. Tech journalists started receiving anonymous messages containing file hashes, timestamps, and hidden links. Each pointed toward a pattern of edited live feeds across multiple incidents. At first, no one wanted to believe it, but then someone cross-checked the event's raw live stream code and discovered a preloaded graphic overlay labeled FX Trig 01, a gunshot trigger. The implication was horrifying. The broadcast had been pre-programmed to show a gunshot before it ever happened. And suddenly, the narrative flipped again. Maybe there was no shooter. Maybe the real crime wasn't what happened that night, but how the truth was rewritten after. The footage was everywhere now, replayed, dissected, slowed down frame by frame. But the more people analyzed it, the stranger it became. The angles didn't match. The shadows on the wall behind the shooter didn't line up with the direction of light in the room. Something was off, deeply off. For days, independent analysts, tech journalists, and even retired law enforcement officers tried to make sense of it. One clip, especially, caught everyone's attention. A split-second reflection in a glass door behind the crowd. It showed someone standing where the shooter was supposed to be. But this figure was dressed differently. No cap, no matching build. Just a still, frozen outline of someone else holding what looked like the weapon. That reflection became the obsession of millions. It wasn't long before an audio specialist joined the online conversation. He cleaned up the distorted background sounds from the footage and isolated a faint echo. Not from the shooter's position, but from a completely different direction. When synchronized, the sound proved what many were afraid to admit. The shot didn't come from where everyone thought it did. The revelation hit the public like a tidal wave. For weeks, people had been calling the man in the video a monster. Some even dodged him, leaked his home address, sent threats to his family. And now, this same man might have been innocent all along. The narrative flipped overnight, and the outrage turned into guilt, confusion, and disbelief. Online forums exploded with theories. Had the footage been altered? Or worse, deliberately staged? The platform that released it, once praised for exposing the truth, now faced accusations of fabrication. Every frame was questioned, every timestamp re-examined. Then came the press conference. Under the glare of the cameras, an investigator from the Digital Crimes Unit stepped up to the microphone. His voice was calm, but his words carried weight. "We have reason to believe," he said, "that the footage circulating online was not original. It was edited before release, and elements within it were digitally altered to mislead." He paused, letting the statement hang heavy in the air. The room went silent. Reporters scrambled for questions, but none of them mattered as much as the one no one dared to ask aloud. Who would want to fake something like this? And why? Back online, The crowd that once screamed for justice now demanded accountability. The supposed shooter's lawyer released a public statement. "My client was at the event, but he never fired a weapon. We have GPS logs, witness statements, and time-stamped footage to prove it." That night, the leaked footage that had broken the internet suddenly began to disappear. Video links went dead. Accounts that uploaded it were suspended. Posts vanished. It was as if someone wanted the world to forget the video ever existed. But the internet doesn't forget that easily. Users began sharing cached versions, re-uploads, short clips, anything to preserve the evidence. Yet every version showed something slightly different. In one clip, a frame was missing. In another, the reflection in the glass was blurred out completely. Someone, somewhere, was tampering with the digital record. The truth wasn't just buried, it was being erased. And as the tension grew, the question changed from who fired the shot to who wanted the world to believe it was him. The shooter's name trended again, but this time alongside a single word: framed. The story was no longer about a gunman. It was about a cover-up, one so precise, so deliberate, that even the evidence was fighting to survive. The silence after the press conference was eerie. For the first time, the internet didn't know what to believe. Those who had built their entire online identity around calling the man a murderer were now deleting their posts. Others doubled down, refusing to accept the possibility that they'd been manipulated. But while social media argued, investigators dug deeper. And what they found wasn't just disturbing, it was deliberate. The original video, the one that had sparked global outrage, came from an anonymous upload. When digital analysts traced the file's source, they realized it had been uploaded using a VPN that masked its location through 3 separate countries. Each layer made it nearly impossible to find the person behind it. But one thing stood out. The metadata inside the file had been tampered with before it ever hit the internet. Timestamps didn't match camera models. Frame rates fluctuated in ways that suggested insertion and removal of content. In simple terms, the footage was doctored. The real footage, the unedited version, was still missing. One investigator described what they found as a surgical manipulation. Whoever did this knew exactly what to change and how to make it believable. The edit wasn't sloppy. It was crafted with intention, made to destroy one man's life and ignite chaos. Across the internet, people began piecing together what they could from screenshots, cached clips, and fragments left behind on forgotten servers. Slowly, a different story emerged. One that painted the supposed shooter as a scapegoat, and the timing was too perfect to ignore. The day the footage dropped, certain political figures had already prepared statements condemning the act within minutes of the upload. Too fast to be a coincidence. Too organized to be spontaneous. Journalists began questioning if the outrage was orchestrated. Was it all part of a bigger plan? To shift attention, to silence, to distract? The idea seemed wild, but the patterns were undeniable. Meanwhile, the man at the center of it all, the accused shooter, had gone completely silent. Not a single interview, no social media posts, nothing. According to his attorney, he'd been advised to stay quiet until the truth surfaced. But silence, in a world that thrives on noise, only made people speculate more. Then, 3 days after the conference, something unexpected happened. A previously unseen angle of the same incident appeared online, not on YouTube or mainstream platforms, but buried in a small, encrypted forum known for whistleblower content. The clip was shaky, filmed from behind the crowd, but clear enough to see that the accused man never fired the weapon. His hands weren't even positioned right. Someone else, blurred in the background, raised an object, a weapon of similar shape, just seconds before the chaos began. And then, like every other time, the video vanished. Deleted, scrubbed from the internet within hours, but not before thousands of people downloaded it. The evidence was spreading again, this time organically, people emailing each other, sharing on private drives, refusing to let it be buried. And as the truth grew louder, the silence from officials grew suspicious. One digital analyst said it best during a late-night live stream. If this was really about justice, they wouldn't be trying this hard to hide the truth. That single line became a rallying cry. Comments flooded in. We want the real video. Why are they hiding this? Who benefits from the lie? Public trust was fracturing, not just in the footage, but in the system itself. And as more fragments of the real video surfaced, one thing became clear. The accused man hadn't just been framed, he'd been chosen. By the end of the week, the world had stopped trusting the headlines. Every major outlet was scrambling to catch up, rewriting earlier reports, quietly editing articles without acknowledgement. What had started as a single viral clip had spiraled into one of the biggest media integrity scandals in years. Then, late one night, a 12-minute file appeared on a cloud server linked to anonymous activists. It was titled simply, "Full footage, do not delete." People who downloaded it expected another fake. But when analysts verified the digital fingerprint, the result was undeniable. This was the original recording, the version no one was ever meant to see. The footage opened with a crowd gathered behind a metal barrier. The air was loud with chants, flashing cameras, and security shouts. The accused man stood still, hands visible, looking toward the stage. For several minutes, nothing happened. Then, in the background, someone moved through the crowd, wearing the same jacket, the same hat seen in the doctored video. The shot that would later spark outrage came from that direction, but when slowed down frame by frame, the truth became painfully clear. The accused man never pulled the trigger. Another figure just out of focus raised their arm. The flash came from there. The real shooter had been cropped out of the edited version. Forensic analysts confirmed it instantly. The viral clip had been trimmed by exactly 1.6 seconds, just enough to remove that person from view and make it look like the man was firing. The cut wasn't random. It was precise, intentional, designed to mislead. The internet erupted. Threads exploded across X, Reddit, and Telegram. Hashtags flipped overnight, from "justice for victim" to "Knox justice for the framed." People who'd once demanded punishment were now demanding answers. Who edited it? Who uploaded it? And why? Officials scrambled to control the damage, but every attempt only fueled more suspicion. One spokesperson claimed the new video was deep-faked. Within hours, independent analysts debunked that claim, proving the file's metadata predated every public version of the footage. In other words, this was the source. Even more unsettling, traces of the file's upload history pointed to a government-owned network server. That detail alone reignited the storm. The phrase "they knew" began trending worldwide. And through it all, the accused man remained silent. But his lawyer released one statement. My client has lived in hiding for months, branded as a killer. Now the truth is public. Every second of that video proves his innocence. Every day of silence was another day stolen from him. The clip was reposted millions of times before takedown notices began to flood in. But by then, it was unstoppable. Mirror uploads, torrents, private storage. The internet had decided this truth wasn't going anywhere. For days, people dissected every frame, every sound, every reflection in the footage. The truth was hiding in plain sight all along, and now the world could see it. And once they saw, they couldn't unsee. Even major news outlets had no choice but to address it. Anchors read statements with uneasy expressions, trying to clarify previous coverage. But the damage was done. The credibility of the footage that started it all was gone. What remained was something no one could edit, delete, or spin. A collective realization that people had been manipulated by an illusion. In one of the final re-uploads, a user captioned the video simply, "This is what they didn't want you to see." And that line, simple, raw, undeniable, became the headline that would echo across every platform. The uncut truth was finally out, and the internet wasn't letting it go this time. When the full video hit every major platform, there was no going back. The narrative that had once been so tightly controlled shattered overnight. Every replay, every side-by-side comparison made it clear the world had condemned an innocent man based on an edited lie. Crowds poured into the streets, not in anger this time, but in disbelief. Protest signs didn't target the supposed shooter anymore. They targeted the media, the officials, and the shadowy systems that had let this happen. People demanded accountability. They wanted names. They wanted the truth. All of it. In newsroom after newsroom, panic set in. Editors ordered emergency meetings, anchors rehearsed apologies, and legal teams tried to contain what couldn't be contained. Every outlet that had rushed to report the viral video was now fighting to rebuild its credibility. But for many, it was too late. The footage had done more than expose a cover-up. It exposed a culture of blind reaction. The kind that feeds on outrage before facts. The kind that destroys lives before evidence even surfaces. The accused man, Tyler Robinson, silent for months, finally appeared on camera. Not for an interview, not for revenge, but to speak one sentence. "I wasn't the one holding the gun." The clip was raw, unedited, and shot from what looked like a dimly lit room. His eyes were tired, his voice steady but hollow. You could hear the exhaustion in every pause. That video, just 15 seconds long, went viral within minutes, not for its production, but for its humanity. People began apologizing publicly. Influencers who'd mocked him months ago were now posting long threads, trying to backtrack. But some things can't be undone. The damage was real. His name had been dragged through every corner of the internet, and even though the truth had surfaced, the scars would never fully fade. Investigators later confirmed that the doctored clip originated from a restricted system. No full details were released, only vague mentions of an internal breach and an ongoing investigation. But the public already knew what that meant. Someone powerful had wanted this narrative to exist. Someone had benefited from it. And just like that, the conversation shifted from guilt to accountability. People weren't asking who shot who anymore. They were asking who wanted it to look that way, and why. Across social platforms, threads turned into movements. the hashtags became statements. See the full video trended globally for weeks. It wasn't just about this one case anymore. It was about every manipulated clip, every missing context, every time the truth had been edited to fit an agenda. Meanwhile, the man who had once been accused quietly disappeared from public life again. No interviews, no book deals, no statements, just silence. But this time, it wasn't a silence of fear, it was peace. In the end, justice didn't come from a courtroom. It came from exposure, from a collective of people who refused to stop looking for the truth even when it was buried. The world had seen how easy it was to bend reality with a single frame, a single edit, a single upload, and now it couldn't unsee it. In the final moments of the last verified recording, there's a line of text that appears briefly, right before the file ends, maybe left there by whoever leaked it. No watermark, no signature, just 6 words that said everything. The truth was never the enemy. That line became the closure the story never had. It spread faster than any hashtag, printed on posters, written in captions, whispered in comment sections. And for once, the internet wasn't divided. It was united, not by outrage, but by realization. The truth wasn't hidden anymore. It was finally seen,